Okay, we'd like to welcome everybody on YouTube to our first day of the Kryolan Masterclass 2017. We are here with Mimi Choi, the fantastic illusionist, and we've just started our performance. So it's a pleasure to welcome you all. If you do have any questions on YouTube, please feel free to ask in the comments below the video, and we'll put them to Mimi and get them answered for you.
I want that shadow to be a little bit deeper there. So I'm going to actually paint a solid black line so it looks like it's lifted and there's a gap. I find myself always going back to cracks to see how much I have improved. And because that's the first illusion I've ever done, and it's the core of my work, highlighting and contouring, right?
Mimi, do you find that the placement of where you put the cracks on the face makes a difference to the illusion?
The placement, yeah, I do think that. But for example, if I do cracks on the lips or eyes or things like that, with the lips, I'm going to try to shift it because if there's a crack there, the lip is not going to be all uniform around the edges, right? There's going to be, it's like earthquake. So if there's a crack, some parts of it is going to go up, some parts of it is going to go down. So I like to play with features, and I like to shift things around to enhance the illusions. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do a piece here. As if it's like an eggshell, there's a little piece sticking out. So I'm gonna use my kind of skin tone aqua color and draw a triangle there.
And what products have you used on the eye makeup so far?
On the eye makeup, I use the same eyeshadow palette. Actually, this eyeshadow palette.
So this one is a 15 color matte eyeshadow palette. This one is Smoky Rose. And the product Mimi's using at the moment is Aquacolor. These come in various different variations. You can get them in different sizes. Mimi has a palette of 12 colors, and this is a W palette, and it's all fair skin tones.
So for that little piece sticking out, I have to put a shadow around it. Because if it's sticking out, there's going to be a shadow. If you don't do that, then it doesn't look like anything at all.
Is there anything to consider when you're using powder on top of Aquacolor?
It's good to use powder on top of Aquacolor because once it dries, it doesn't move. And it doesn't smudge, right? So I like shading using powder on top of Aquacolor. It's better than using powder on top of a cream that moves around when you shade. When you do Aquacolor, when it dries, it doesn't move. So you can do anything on top of it, right? And I'm going to use the whites again to highlight the edges of that piece. And I always use my fingers, Q-tip, whatever works. I'm going to take a picture of it first to see if it looks like anything. Okay.
Mimi, Kryolan, Italy, say hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. So I'm going to draw a crack coming down here. If you're just starting out with illusions and stuff like that, just try doing it with white and black kohl liner. Piece. So when I look at it, I want that piece to look like it's sticking out, so I'm going to shade around it. It's those little things that's going to make a big difference. So I'm going to shade it here because I want that part to look like it's going in.
Mimi, when you're doing this kind of work, because you quite often work on yourself, do you find it easier working on yourself or easier working on a model?
They're about the same, I would think. I work on myself because I usually get most inspired at midnight. I don't know why. I take a shower, most people go to sleep, right? I'm all clean, I take a shower and I paint on my face and I have to take another shower and mess up my bathtub and scrub. Sometimes at 5 in the morning, I'm like, why am I doing this? But at least I got a good photo, right? Like I love taking selfies and I don't want people to think that I'm vain all the time. So I do these artworks that people are like, oh, okay, that distracts people from thinking that I'm vain, you know what I mean? And I like how I've always been quite OCD and obsessive, and I express it through art, and I can do it as a career. And sometimes I'm like, I'm so lucky that I'm able to create as a career. And sometimes I'm painting and things like that, and I'm like, it's play, but it's actually, I don't even remember that it's work. So I'm going to use this to highlight the center a little bit, to make it look like it's coming out.
Do we have any questions here in the room at the moment? You're all good? Mimi, what do you find the most challenging for illusion effects? What's the hardest thing to do?
What's the hardest thing to do? It's really understanding highlighting and contouring. It's still like when I do these things, I've been doing it for 3 years. There's still so much to learn. This is really hard to create things that are not there, right? And it's challenging for me. It's uncomfortable for me. Like right now, when I'm doing this, I don't know if it works or not. But I do it because I want to see if I've gotten better from yesterday. But that's the most challenging thing, is to beat myself from yesterday too, to create things that impress myself. So right now I'm going to do another crack coming down from her eye, I think, and then shift the lips a little bit.
So yeah, we do want to remind everybody on YouTube, you can ask questions. Please? If you make your question in the comments, then Mimi will be able to answer them because we will read them to her.
I'm just going to freehand everything now. Oops. Oh, the hardest illusion.
So I'll just repeat that question for people on YouTube. We have a question in the room. What's the hardest illusion that you've had to create so far?
Oh, I think it's the lace up illusion. I did laces on the face and then like an eye at the under one eye and then another eye on top. That took me at least 5 hours. I remember I had to take a nap in between. I went to bed. I had to make sure that that I don't like, you know, roll around and stuff like that. And I woke up, it was like afternoon already, and I continued doing the other part. That was the hardest one. Eyes are always a challenge. I like doing eyes, but it takes a long time because it's really hard to create a realistic eye. There's a lot of details. It's not just white and then a black dot in the middle. There's a lot of like highlighting and contouring that comes with it, right? And that's the most challenging one I've ever done, I think. I don't really have a favorite work. To be honest, when I look at my old work, I don't like looking at them. Because, yeah, it's just like, oh my God, like when sometimes people feature me and it's my old work, I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it's like on the internet and people are looking at it. I'm not proud of it. But I think that's helpful for me too as an artist, because if I think that my work is perfect and now I'm never gonna grow, right? That's why I keep doing these things, because I am never happy with my work. I want to keep beating myself. Right? There's only, I think, a few illusions that I feel okay with right now, but some of the other ones, I always look at them and I'm like, oh, what else can I do to improve from there, right?
What are your favorite brushes? Obviously, it's quite fine brush work.
Yeah.
Do you have any like favorite brushes that you like automatically go to?
So the question was to Mimi, what type of brushes do you prefer to use? Is there a specific type that is better for this kind of work? Yeah.
Very fine brushes, like the Kryolan ones that I'm using right now. These guys here, they're very, very little. I also use craft brushes from craft stores. Cheap, but it works, right? It's just, as I said before, whatever works for you, right? Just really, really fine detail brushes. I like using those.
And these brushes are all synthetic hair, so they work better with the aquacolor texture.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna highlight this part. I want this part to look like it's going in a little bit, so I'm gonna shade underneath it.
Mimi, is there a difference between creating a makeup for Instagram and creating a makeup for a photo shoot?
No, I try to treat it the same. Even though when I do makeup on myself, I try not to depend on editing or anything. I contrast the colors. I have Snapseed, I have Facetune, right? If I have a pimple on my face, I'm gonna get rid of it. But I try to not change my work. Like the lines have to be, I want it to be exactly how I draw it, right? But I contrast my things. And for photo shoots, it's the same thing. It's trying to perfect it, because somebody's taking a photo. It needs to be as perfect as possible, right? I treat it exactly the same. I don't try to depend on editing or anything. So when I do that, like it's just little things like that that's going to really make it more effective. Going to do more highlighting around the edges.
Mimi, we have another question on YouTube.
Yeah.
Where do you get inspiration from?
I get inspiration from everything, from paintings, from photoshopped art, when people do surreal arts using Photoshop, I like to look at it. I'm like, it looks like, and decide if I can recreate that with makeup. I don't like to look at makeup. I look at other art forms for inspiration. I also get inspired by emotions, sadness, and things like that. Actually, the turning point of my career was when my grandpa passed away 1 year ago, and I realized really life is too short. Focus on happiness and create things that are memorable to you, right? That are really from within. I think when I started doing that, I started drawing a lot, and then when I started doing makeup inspired by, you know, sadness and things like that, people started noticing it because I create from within. I paint when I feel like I want to relieve some of my sadness, and then it just comes out like that. And the art is, I think, out of all the art that I've done, the ones that are inspired by emotions are the strongest because it shows through the art, right?
Yeah, we have a question in the room. One more time. Mimi, what's your favorite color?
My favorite color? I like all colors. I like mauve.
Mauve?
I like black and white. I like all colors. Yeah. All kinds.
Yep.
Pardon me? Yeah.
Can we move the chair slightly?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
For the
Sorry.
camera. We're just going to move the chair very slightly for the camera and for the screen. If you sit there for me. Is this better?
All right. Is it better?
It's a hard balance for makeup because the artist needs to see, but obviously you guys need to see as well. So
Yeah.
we'll let Mimi concentrate while she's doing a liquid liner, and then you'll see what she's done after.
There's a lot of going back and forth with these things. I just try to do whatever my heart wants me to do.
So we have a question in the room. The question is, does Mimi ever use embellishments or adornments to add to her looks?
Yeah, I like using rhinestones. I like sticking paper, using paper as lashes. I've done that before, cutting them and then creating my own lashes, sticking it on top of old lashes. I spend a lot of money on make lashes in general, because I always put lashes on. And the old ones, sometimes I feel like, okay, they're $30, mink lashes, right? I don't want to throw them away. I keep them, and I try to make something out of it. Maybe stack them together, put glitter on top of it, rhinestones, paper. I've done paper. And that paper was from a bag, like a shopping bag, and I just cut it up. And it's just, you can create anything from anything, really. My own face?
The question in the room was, what highlight is Mimi wearing?
I'm wearing a mixture of Makeup Forever Pro Light Fusion and... No, it's just a... Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I want to highlight the edges a little bit.
So this again is Aquacolor. It's another refill from the same palette, which is the W palette.
This side, I haven't really finished this part yet, so I'm going to continue on. A lot of times when I do these kind of things, I like take breaks in between. I eat something, chocolate or whatever. I come back and I look at it and I just keep adding onto it.
Okay, we have a question in the room. Yeah.
So is each piece that you create different in the amount of time it takes you, or do you have like an average time that your work takes you?
So, sorry, Mimi, we'll just repeat the question
of course.
quickly. So the question in the room was, does each piece that you design roughly have the same amount of time scale, or do you have different timings depending on what you're actually creating?
It depends on what I'm creating. Illusions take a lot longer than just avant-garde. When I draw just like flowers, whatever. Sometimes it takes 30 minutes. Sometimes it takes up to 5 hours, right? It really depends on the day, how I'm feeling, and the type of work I'm doing. Yeah, actually, hand makeups usually take a little bit shorter because I can actually see it like that. I don't have to take photos and stuff like that. I see it like that, right? So the sushi ones that people seem to like, they only took like an hour, like the fish one and then the sushi one. I remember I was like watching TV with my fiance and then I was like, I don't know if that's gonna work. That's a huge piece of sushi, like on the hand. But when I took a photo, I'm like, oh, actually, like it works, right? It's just about taking risks and doing things that are different because you never know if it's gonna work out or not. If it doesn't work out, you don't have to post it or do anything. Just use it as a practice and experience, right? But if it's good, then it's something new that you have created. Nobody has ever done before. So that's what inspires me with art is I want to keep doing things, even though they might not be perfect. I want to keep creating things that people have never done before and be original and try to set a trend if that's possible. Okay, thank you. Do that with the lip, the shade around it again.
Okay, we have another question in the room. Yep.
What are your favorite creations that you've done that we've seen on Instagram, for example, and what are the stories behind them?
Okay, the question is, what is your favorite looks that we've seen on Instagram and what is the stories or inspiration behind them?
My favorite looks, let me think. My favorite looks would be probably the lace-up one that I talked about before, or even the shifted one, like the one where it's just like, that was the first shifted makeup. I wasn't happy about it because it was not, there's depth was not really there, but it was something I don't think anybody has ever done before, and it was something that I actually didn't mean, like, wasn't about to pose. That's why I just took a photo from the front camera, not even like the back, because I just want to see how it looks. And then I was like, okay, I spent 2 hours on this, might as well just post it. And then it went viral, that photo. That was the one that was the original of all the shift makeups. I always do extensions of my past makeup, try to improve it from the last one, and do different types of shift makeups inspired by the original, the first one that I've ever done. And it's like Montessori. When I was teaching children, there's always extensions. There's a basic, and then like there's extension exercises that are advanced, and I try to treat it the same way. Yeah.
We have another YouTube question. It's a slightly trickier one. How do you deal with negative criticism on social media?
As artists, we always sometimes get negative comments, right? I like to look at them as kind of like, as a way to improve myself. If it's truth, it's the truth. If it's something that I think that the person is saying because I haven't done anything, like the thing that I do was not good enough, then I use that to try to improve my makeup. But if things that doesn't make sense and things like that, I try to just ignore it, right?
We have another question on YouTube. Mimi, for you, what defines beauty?
What defines beauty? Being authentic, I think, defines beauty. Embracing yourself defines beauty. I think, for me, everything is beautiful. I seriously find beauty in a garbage can.
I thought you was pointing to Emily.
Yeah,
then.
like I look at it, I'm like, I want to paint down the face. I like the wrinkles on an elephant. I like, everything is beauty to me. I'm very amazed by the world, by nature in general. I love traveling, and I get a lot of my inspirations from traveling to and looking at different textures. This carpet is beauty to me. So it's hard to explain what beauty means to me because everything is beauty. I find beauty in everything. Yeah.
So the question in the room was, have you ever done full body painting?
Yes, I have. With airbrushing, I use aqua color too with that. But I usually mostly just work on the face. But when I have to paint the whole body, sometimes I do the base with airbrushing first. And then I like to hand paint everything. So when it's body painting, that it takes a long time, right? So and then I always just work on myself at midnight. So painting the body, it's gonna take me 2 days. So, and it's gonna mess up my bathroom. So that's why I don't do that. But I would love to do that more. So with the lips, I'm going to try to shift it. I'm gonna just freehand the cracks and make it look like it's going up and down a little bit. Close your lips, please.
Mimi, we have another YouTube question.
Yeah.
With your successful following on Instagram, do you find that actually directly gets you work doing this kind of thing?
Yeah, it does. Actually, a lot of my bridal work comes from Instagram. This came from Instagram, Masterclass, and my instructing job came from Instagram. It's free and it's useful for artists. If you use it properly, I think it can get you a lot of jobs. Because, it's all about social media these days, right? How you present yourself on social media. But my only advice is to be just authentic with yourself and your art and try not to recreate other people's work and just try to be authentic and just post things that are real, that defines you. Mm-hmm.
We have a question in the room as well. No. The question in the room was, when you decided to quit your job as a teacher, did you know that this was the direction you was going to go in with makeup?
Definitely not. I was thinking I would be lucky to get a job. That was what I was thinking. I love doing it. I've always done makeup on myself. The reason why my mom kind of suggested it is because her friends always ask me, "Oh, does Mimi do beauty or makeup on other people?" Because I've always liked doing makeup on myself, but it's nothing crazy like that. And it only really started illusion makeup from that crack illusion that I did for Halloween. And then it makes me realize it's the most challenging thing that I do with makeup. So I just want to keep doing it to improve myself. And then 3 years later, here I am. It's just trying to beat myself from yesterday. Yeah. And I always tell my students, it's okay to create your own path, even though people tell you that, oh, you're never going to make money out of it. But if you're real about your art, the universe is going to guide you. It's amazing how the universe works sometimes. If you're positive and you're always kind and you're authentic, then it'll take you to places. It doesn't have to be any path that anybody has been on. It would just create something for you. Yeah.
So they said you got bridal jobs through your Instagram. Does that mean that you've ever had a bride that's worn something like this?
Well, so far, nobody has really asked for this kind of makeup. But I would be open to any idea. It's all about bridal makeup. Is all about creating the look that the bride has envisioned. If they want to have a costume kind of themed wedding, why not, right?
So someone out there needs to be the first person to do it, and then we'll all share it.
Yeah. I'm gonna use, actually, my red. aqua color for the lips.
So this again is aqua color. It's not the W palette. I'm just gonna, excuse me, Mimi. Yeah. This palette that Mimi is using now contains skin tones and colors. And this is palette N for November.
I'm trying to change the position of her lips, making that part looks like it's going up a little bit. And if that happens, that means that there's a gap. So I'm going to put liner here to create illusion of space.
Mimi, there's a question on YouTube. How can somebody join a class that you take? Do you offer classes or any type of way that you can give training to people?
Yeah, I do private lessons. I also teach at Blanche with Donald. And yeah, I do have classes.
If somebody is not in your country, do you offer anything online based?
No. So right now I'm not offering that. But maybe in the future, that's actually a good idea. So I'm going to do more of that. I'm going to keep that, the original lip there.
For the answer to the question on YouTube online, yes, Kryolan also offer workshops and they do face painting and body painting workshops as well.
So with that, I'm going to make it look like it's going up again. It's like earthquake.
Which color is this, Mimi?
12.
Does it sound the
It's from the...
This is 079.
That. I'm going to shift this part a little bit too. Make it look like it's going down a little bit. Again, if it's coming down like that, that means there's a gap there. I'm going to...
Mimi, Kryolan US, say hello.
Hello. I've tagged them in my photos. Kryolan USA. Okay. I'm going to take a picture to see what I need.
Mimi, why do you take pictures of your work during the preparation period? Why do you take pictures during the preparation?
Why did I take pictures? Yeah. To see what I need to improve on. As I said before, sometimes when I'm doing it for a long period of time, especially when I don't have a mirror in front of me, usually when I do like makeups on people, I always check in the mirror, right? But right now I'm just looking at her directly. I always find myself being able to catch flaws and imperfections better when I'm looking in a mirror or if I take a photo. So that's why I always use like a phone to check. Do a little bit of highlighting.
Mimi, when you're doing illusion work on yourself, how do you get the perfect pictures? Do you use selfie lights or do you have lighting structure when you're doing the makeups?
I just use my iPhone. To be honest, I do it at midnight. So by the time I'm done, a lot of times I don't really have the energy to take a good photo. But I use Snapseed to kind of make the photo less warm because bathroom lights are usually very yellow. So I try to like make the yellow less obvious and bring the true color back. And yeah, I don't use the front camera. If I really like the makeup, I use the back of the camera, of my phone, to capture a better quality photo. I have a good quality camera, but then because, as I said before, I do makeup so late at night, a lot of times when I'm done, I don't feel like taking a good photo, setting it up on a tripod. I just take it with my iPhone.
1 second. Another question. Is there an illusion that you'd like to try that hasn't been done yet?
Oh, there's many things that I haven't done yet. Different types of sushi. I like to try, I've tried a lot of things. Maybe more animal transformations. I've done that before, but different types of animals.
We have another question in the room as well. So firstly, Kryolan Brazil say hello, but they're on the front row, so that's not coming too far. So the difference with Aquacolor and Aquacolor Plus is quite a common misunderstanding. Aquacolor is a product that's been designed to be very easily blended. You can mix colors in with each other, so they will react exactly as colors should. If you mix white with red, it's going to turn to pink. This is the kind of thing that Aquacolor's for. They both dry matte, and they both give dense application. But the difference with Aquacolor Plus has been designed not to blend. It's been designed so you can layer it. So if you put white base, and then you go over the top with black, it's not going to go grey. It's going to stay black. It's been designed so it doesn't blend, so it stays strong. So quite a lot of the time when someone picks one up and they try to blend with it, they're like, this doesn't blend. It's designed not to blend, to give intense colour that you can layer.
So I didn't actually intend to do that, but because this is severely going in, I want to make this part look like it's missing. So I'm going to draw a shadow on it.
So our people that are following us on YouTube, we have 10 minutes left of our live stream. So if you want to ask any more questions, then now's the time to do so. Yeah, we have another question in the room.
Are there any makeup tips or tricks you'd like to share?
So the question in the room was, is there any makeup tips or tricks that you can share with us? I think your demonstration's been pretty full of them so far, but maybe there's a couple left.
Just to take risks and try different things out, right? Develop your own strategy, your own technique, right? Everyone has a different way of doing eyeliner. For example, I like to do the flick, the wing first, and then link it from the middle to the end, and then the front to the middle. It's always perfect for me. That works for me. But just find a strategy that works for you. You don't have to always copy what other people do. Do it in the most comfortable way for yourself, I think, and try different techniques, different products to see what works for you. Because what works for other makeup artists might not work for you, right?
So this is a contour pencil. Mimi used this in the beginning to map out the design before she started painting. So they're soft Kajal pencils that they work and blend really well with aquacolor. Okay, we have a question in the room. So the question in the room is, do we do any classes purely for product knowledge? Currently, it's not something that we do. We do subjects that surround a certain genre, and then we have product knowledge about them products that are suitable for that genre. But Kryolan will be launching what we call the Kryolan Educational Program, and that will launch very soon, actually. Section by section, and some of them are purely theoretical, scientific knowledge of why makeup works, how you can layer it, what products will complement, what products will be opposed. So very soon there will be a product proficiency course that you can take to understand the chemistry of makeup. So Mimi's just got 5 minutes that she's going to finish off. Have we got any more questions online or anybody in the room? So the question is, how does Mimi feel about people replicating her work online?
It's very flattering, to be honest. When people start recreating, because I never really truly like my work, so when people start to recreate it, I feel like people must enjoy it. So it's very flattering for me. But sometimes it does get a little bit annoying when people don't credit, right? But I mean, it happens, and I try to get over it and not just focus on myself, right? You can't control what other people do or say about you, but you can control about your quality of work and what you do. And that's the most important thing, is not to just, don't focus on other people, just do your best. Because when people copy you and don't credit you, I'm not gonna use this brush anymore.
I think what you've been saying quite a few times actually is the most important key thing is that be in competition with yourself. Don't be in competition with other people.
How I look at it is people who copy your work, they're always going to be one step behind, though. If you keep creating original work, nobody knows what's in there, right? It comes from here. So they can only copy so much. They can't copy your next one because you're going to be doing your next one, right? So that's how I see it. It's just trying to keep creating new things, and people can't catch up because they're always going to be one step behind. Can you check your eyes? Close your eyes, please. Look straight.
So this pencil, again, is from the contour range. So it's a contour pencil as well. And it's 071, it's black. We have another question in the room? The question was, Mimi, do you work in silence or do you prefer to have music on or something when you're designing?
It depends on the day. I work in silence quite a bit.
I suppose at midnight you probably have to, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The only noise you'll hear is me scrubbing the bathtub. Sometimes I paint myself black in color and then I ruin the bathtub, and then I still live with my parents, and my mom is a clean freak. She wakes up in the morning, she's like, what did you do again? But now she understands that I try my best. It's the best I can do at 5 a.m., right? And I try to be as neat as I can, but with doing art, I can't. Sometimes I focus a lot on the face, and then with everything around me, I look around, I'm like, how did you generate so much mess? You're just one person. It's everywhere, right? But people who love me, who live with me, like my fiance, my parents, they know that's how I work, right? I'm gonna take a photo of it to see if it works or not. I actually don't know if it actually works.
We have another question in the room. The question is, Mimi, how often do you create looks?
How often? Sometimes I create every night. There's a period of time when I was just creating every night. And then these days I've been traveling, so I haven't really been creating as much. It's whenever I feel like it. I don't want to create anything for people. I want to create things for myself. I only do it when I feel like it, right? Because if I do things because I'm like, oh, I'm losing followers because I haven't posted in 10 days, then you're not going to create art that is authentic, right? So I always try to just, depending on how I feel.
Mimi, so our YouTube audience is going to be leaving us now. So is there any final words you want to say to them?
Thank you for watching me. And I'm very happy and flattered that anybody is actually interested in my work.
Yeah, we want to thank all of the people for joining us on YouTube. We will upload a list of products that Mimi has used, and you will obviously be able to see the finished and final looks that we'll share with you guys later on. Thanks very much.